Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Low Mileage Running Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Olson. And today I wanted to share with you an interview that I had with Jeff Smith from Australia over at the Running Podcast. And Jeff had me on his show because he's been following my website for a while and my writing, and he's really interested in the low mileage approach. So Jeff had me on, and we talked about some of the ideas in my new book, Low Mileage Running, A Short Guide to Running Faster, Injury-Free. And it's just a short conversation, but I thought that it would be interesting to people who are listening to this podcast and a great way to get some of the ideas out in the book. So if you're interested in learning more about the book, check out this interview with Jeff Smith. Thanks.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Running Podcast. And joining me on the phone today, I've had this guy on the show before. He is a huge inspiration to me. I love what he does. The paleo runner himself, Aaron Olson. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Jeff. How's it going? It's great to be on the show again.
Man, great to catch up with you. And I guess we know you as the paleo runner, and we've spoken to you here on the show before. But more importantly, I think we've made a move from being the paleo runner to the low mileage runner. What's going on?
Well, I made the switch to the low mileage runner, I think, because I think a lot of people are put off by the paleo diet. A lot of runners might not know what that means, or maybe they think it's a kind of cult or something. So I thought, I have some ideas about training that have helped me achieve PRs in the past 3 or 4 years, and I really wanted to put them out there into print. And I could have put it out on my Paleo Runner website, but I think I need to focus more just on the running aspect. And so I put out a book called Low Mileage Running, A Short Guide to Running Faster, Injury-Free. And it basically just goes over what I've done over the past 3 to 4 years to set PRs while remaining injury-free. And in the past, I suffered with a lot of injuries, things like stress fractures, Achilles tendonitis, knee pain, and just a lot of nagging injuries. And about 4 years ago, I started to take a different approach to my training, and I basically cut out all the junk mileage, or most of it, and I really just focused on 1 to 2 quality workouts per week. And that has just paid off huge dividends for me. I've been able to have a lot more time on my hands. I've been able to feel more rested and have more fun. And in the meantime, I was able to set a few PRs as well. So I wanted to put out a short book, something easy to read that could help other runners. And that was my main goal with this low mileage running book.
And I think you've achieved that. As I said, I've had a chance to cast my eye over it, and man, I think you've done a great job. It's short and sweet, easy to read. It gets right to the point. And I think back, would it be 2 years ago you and I spoke on the Running Podcast about low mileage? And I said to you at the time, I just thought that a lot of us just ran way too many junk miles. And you and I had a good conversation about, just doing workouts as you felt you should do them, rather than even having a schedule, training, type session. Just going out and running how you felt on that day. If you wanted to run fast, run fast. If you want to run slow. And I think that, it's a great way to go. So many people, and you see it all the time, you experienced it firsthand, people just run, way too many miles because they feel that that's what they need to do. And of course, the inevitable tiny little niggle turns into a full-blown ITB injury or something. And, man, I think there's a lot to be said for running faster and shorter and getting some PBs along the way.
Yeah. The point that you made about listening to your body, that has been a huge challenge for me, but it's something that I've really tried to hone over the past few years. And I tried to explain that in the book with one of the chapters called Listen to Your Body, and it's in the training guidelines. And, a lot of us runners are kind of have addictive personalities, or maybe a little bit OCD. And so we just push and push and push, and we ignore signals from our body. And even me, for example, last week, I typically only do 2 quality workouts per week, and I kind of know that that's my maximum. But for some reason, I didn't listen to my body last week. I did 3 quality workouts, and my 3rd quality workout was just terrible. But I was getting back into that old OCD pattern where I would just push and push, and I thought to myself, you know what? I got to go back and read that chapter in my book called Listen to Your Body again, because that's how I got faster in the first place, was by listening to my body, not by constantly pushing. So it can be hard advice to follow, but if you follow it, I've found that it actually ends up helping you to get faster and get stronger. And so when you go overboard and push it like I did last week, it can just break you down. So this week I'm really just taking it easy, letting my body recover, and then I'm going to get back to my usual schedule of just 1 to 2 quality workouts a week.
Yeah, look, I think I have my own theories on why we continue to run, and I believe that it's we have so much joy when we're out there running. It makes us feel good. It clears our head. There's untold health benefits from being out there, and especially newer runners. When people first come to running, they always believe that they can't run. They see these skinny guys and girls out there belting up and down the road, and they think, well, I can never do that. And when they do finally start, and they start to lose a few pounds, they start to feel better. They find that their metabolism fires up. They find that their head's clearer. They're thinking better. And that in itself is very addictive. And so, you know yourself, even after all these years of running, it's still such a joy to get out there on a beautiful day and the fresh air and the sunshine. And it's so hard to not go out there and just run and run and run. And because quite often, if you're not listening to your body, all that joy can turn very sour very quick, even as you experience. And look, I do the same thing. I've been running a long time, and there's still times that I run and I get back and I think, why did I do that today? I should have just gone out and had taken the dog for a walk or something and just enjoyed the sunshine and just had a nice leisurely stroll.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the points I make in my book is, getting out there and just taking it easy. On my easy days, I just try to get out there, get some sunshine, like you said. That really helps reset your circadian rhythm. And I'll do some jogging where I'll run a mile and then I'll take a 2 or 3 minute walk. And the point on those easy days isn't to try to, maximize your training or anything like that. It's really just to get out there, get your body in the rhythm of running, just feel good, and just be a normal, healthy human being. But it's not to push the workouts. You need to really save yourself for just 1 to 2 intense quality workouts per week. And by really making the easy days really easy, that gives you so much more energy than when you come back and you hit those quality workouts. Your legs feel fresh, you have a nice pop in your legs, and it just allows that adaptation to happen a lot quicker or a lot faster when you're really pushing the hard days and then really backing off on the easy days, and perhaps even just going for a walk, like you said, with the dog. That can it can make you feel good, boost your mood, and sometimes even give you more benefits than if you were to go for a run.
Absolutely. One of the things I, from my whole background, in the physiology of the body, I know, and that the only time adaptation ever takes place is when the body's resting. So we stress it, then we rest, and the body adapts to that workload, and we go again. And if you could just get that into people's head, and so people could but for most people, they think, well, just keep doing more and more and more, and I'll get better, and I'll get faster, and I'll improve. And that's just, it's just not how it works. And I think, man, you cover it so well in the book, the way the book's laid out. And hey, I love the little tips, man, the key tips. I love those sorts of things throughout the book, but the way you lay it out in the book and the way you explain to people, well, look, man, you need to work, then do some rest, because it's during the rest that the adaptation takes place.
Yeah, exactly. Some people, especially new runners, think that they get faster by just doing this hard quality work over and over again. I'll hear it with people that I work with at work who are sort of new to running. They'll come up to me and they know that I run, and they'll say, hey, I went out and I ran, it's the first week I was running, and I ran 3 miles every day as hard as I could for the past week. And I just kind of shake my head, because the point is you push hard, and then you let your body adapt. And when you're resting, that's when your muscles build up and become stronger. And I think a lot of people in like the weightlifting community have realized this. They'll do, for example, like chest muscles all on one day, and then they'll rest their chest muscles for the rest of the week. And then the next day they'll do only back muscles. Then they'll rest those back muscles for a week. And I think that strength training community has got this down a little bit better. But us runners, we think, well, we can go out there and push it hard every day, and it's not going to be a problem. And I found that sometimes for the short run that can help, but after 2 or 3 weeks of going like that, you're going to break your body down, and you're probably going to end up with an injury or end up getting burnt out. So, take it easy. That's when the adaptation happens.
Absolutely. I was chatting with Steve Runner on the show a while back, and I put to him the proposition of exploratory running, and that's where I just throw a backpack on and some fluid, some food in it, and I go exploring my neighbourhood. So it's a training run, but it's not really a training run, because you might run 5 or 10 minutes and stop and walk and explore and have a look at this and have a look at that. Then you run sort of somewhere else and have a look at that. And it becomes a long workout, but in effect, you run very little and you walk a little, and it's just a great few hours out. But there's no real stress on the body, because you're running a little bit and you're walking a little bit. You're taking time to rest and look at things in your neighborhood or your district or your community. And I think for people that are a little bit maybe OCD or just can't get their head around, I've got to run long and I've got to run every day, that's a great way to get some long time on your feet with very little stress on the body.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I like that approach. And the idea of putting a backpack on and just having sort of like a day trip, that really appeals to me. One of the things that I do is my wife and I will go for a run up to a nearby park, which is about 2 miles away. And my wife is a little bit slower than me, so we run at like a 10-minute pace, and we'll put our 20-month-old daughter in the stroller. We'll jog up to the park for 2 miles, then we'll play around on the monkey bars at the park and go down the slides, and then pack our daughter back up and run 2 miles just easy and slow back. And for me, that's the whole process takes probably an hour or an hour and a half, but that's kind of my idea of an easy day.
It's a great way too. How's it being a dad, mate?
It's been great. It's been great. The one thing I've noticed is I don't get as much sleep anymore. She's still waking up 1 to 2 times per night, and so my adaptation, my rest periods aren't quite as beneficial, I don't think. I've noticed that my pace has been a little bit slower on quite a few of my training runs, and I'm not sure what that is. I'm 33 now, so I don't know if it's age or if I'm just not getting quite the sleep I need. But it's sure a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think back, our 2 boys are grown men these days, and I can still remember those days, man. It seems like only yesterday. Enjoy them because they go through so quick, man. And you lose a little bit of sleep now, but you'll catch up later.
Right, exactly, yeah. And it's all worth it. Yeah, I mean, the fun that we have just going into the pools and going for a swim and going up to the park and things like that it's all worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, we better tell everybody about the name of the book, where it can be found, where people can get it. How do people get themselves a copy of the book?
Yeah, the name of the book is Low Mileage Running: A Short Guide to Running Faster, Injury Free. And you can find it on Amazon, and you can also find it on Audible. Those are the main places. So basically I read this book. I wanted it to be a short book, and I also narrated the book, and it's about 35 minutes long. So you're going to get a lot of the basics of running, taking a lower mileage approach, or I guess in your case, would it be a lower kilometer approach? I'm not sure. And then it's basically just the basics of what you need to get started with your training and getting yourself faster while not putting as much stress on your body and getting injuries and things like that. So Amazon's the main place. If you search for Aaron Olson or Low Mileage Running on Amazon, you'll find it. You could also go to my website, lowmileagerunning.com, and you'll find links to the book on there. And also, like I said, on Audible, if you want to hear the audiobook.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think you've done just such a great job with it. You really have. And it's a great read. I recommend it. And I think, my attitude too, man, I don't think you can ever know enough. And especially as a coach, and I've been at this game a long, long time, and I still can learn every day. And, I hang out with people like yourself, and I read books like this, and I get so much great information out of it. And, I think you've done it. And to narrate it, to put it out, as an audio book as well, is a great way to go because, people like myself, as I said to you before we hit the record button this morning, I'm just so busy at the moment. To have something in my ears is so much easier, than finding time to read something or to watch something. So I think that's a great move as well, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I hear or read most of my books these days is on my way to work, or if I'm going out for a longer run, I'll put in the earbuds and listen to a new book. And, I wanted to make this book really short and concise so people could get the idea. This isn't some grand scheme that I have or something like that. These are just some basic principles that I've used over the past 4 years to set PRs, to get faster. It's not going to cost you a lot of money to invest or a lot of time to read it. And that was my main point. Just get the idea out there. Try to help other runners. The book on Amazon is $3 US. So I'm not sure what that is in other currencies, but it's very affordable, and I think you'll get a lot out of it.
Yeah, $3 US is about $78 Australian these days, mate.
Okay.
No, I think $3 American. I think it's probably about $4.80, something like that. So okay. It's still great value, man. That is that's giving it away, man.
Well, I don't know. I thought it seemed like a good price point, and I thought I'd start with that, and it seems to be a good place to start for a short book.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to low mileage or low kilometers, it's quite funny here down under because we're a metric country, so we talk in in centimeters and kilometers and things like that. But it's so funny, my whole conversations these days are one end of a sentence I will talk in mileage and the other end I'll talk in meters.
Okay.
So, and it's quite funny. I think runners across the world are quite familiar with miles and mileage. So many people, even in our part of the world, still talk about, a marathon being 26 miles or a half being 13. It's, ultra races being, 30 miles or 50 miles or 100 miles. It's quite unique to the running world. I think that even in a metric country, we still cross that barrier and we still talk mileage quite a bit. So I think low mileage running will still, click with runners across the world, whether they're in a metric country or not, I think.
Oh, good. And that's good to hear. And one other thing I should mention is that I have a podcast called Paleo Runner, which I focused a lot on nutrition and a little bit on training on that show. But I've started a new podcast specifically devoted to the ideas in the book. And if you search on iTunes, it's under Low Mileage Running. So if this idea of low mileage running sounds a little crazy to you, go into iTunes or go to lowmileagerunning.com, subscribe to that podcast, and you can listen to a few. I think I have 8 episodes up now. Listen to some of these ideas and try a few of them out and see if it works for you. And if you want to know more, then you can go back and pick up the book.
Man, I can vouch for it because I know for a fact that you've proven the concept. It's not just a concept; you've proven it because it's worked for you. It's worked for people around you. I know you're coaching people these days, and I've implemented a low mileage running protocol with certain people. I've used it myself, and I can tell you it works. And it's like everything, man. There is not one cookie cutter program that suits all runners. And you always need to try and work out what works best for that particular runner. But I tell you what, there are a lot of people that I've reduced mileage, up the intensity. And we talked about that a couple of years ago. And I've done a lot of that in that last couple of years. And it works, man. It really does. And I think the whole idea of mileage per se is not something that should be applied to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that you mentioned that it's not a cookie cutter approach because this is really a conservative approach, which basically you start with the basics. Start with 1 to 2 quality workouts per week and keep repeating 1 to 2 quality workouts per week and see if you can get faster. See how you're improving. And if you get to a point where you say, you know what, I'm not improving anymore. I really need to try something different. Well, then in that case, start adding a few more miles. Maybe you will have to add a few more miles, like if you're an elite athlete or something, or if you just want to set a new PR. But start out small. Try to get the most you can get from the least amount of training. And if you hit a plateau down the road, then at that point, think about adding some more miles.
Mate, I think that's great advice. Start easy and then give yourself the option to move up rather than start long and then have to cut back. So great advice, man, and well said. Mate, I know you've got some things to get to, so we might just about wrap it up there. Man, if you've got some time over the next few months, I'd love to have you back on the show and chat a bit more about running. And always a joy to talk to you, man, about whether it's diet or low mileage running. Just always a joy to have you on the show. I really love the book. Get out there and get a copy of it, guys. Again, where can they find that, mate?
Type in low mileage running into Amazon or go to lowmileagerunning.com and you'll find links to the book on there.
Fantastic. Aaron Olsen, always a joy. Keep up the great work, man. And we'll look forward to having you back on the show again in the near future.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.